Parliament has voted to limit the production and sale of some items containing polluting and health-threatening so-called forever chemicals. This includes cosmetics and most clothing. Forever chemicals are per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances referred to as PFAS, human-made, used since the late 1940s to mass-produce the non-stick, waterproof and stain-resistant treatments that seem to coat everything from frying pans to umbrellas, carpets, dental floss, even ski wax. They can be traced almost everywhere on the planet right now.
It's one of the most ambitious laws to restrict forever chemicals anywhere in the world. Lawmakers in France have rubber-stamped a bill to ban the production and sale of products containing PFAS except in cookware. The invisible source of pollution is among the most toxic. PFAS are a large group of 10,000 chemical substances made up of carbon and fluorine atoms which are virtually indestructible. They can resist intense heat as well as repel water and stains. PFAS have become part of our modern lives and can be found on raincoats, firefighting foam, non-stick frying pans and even toilet paper. And it's these properties which make PFAS so dangerous. Once they're released into the environment from factories that produce or use the chemicals, they don't naturally break down and build up in the soil and water. This has a harmful impact on the environment and public health.
The main source of exposure in the wider population is food. Studies have shown that it accounts for 80 to 90% of people's exposure to PFAS. Food, of course, but also the water we drink. PFAS are endocrine disruptors, which means they disrupt the body's hormonal functions.
Exposure to PFAS can affect the immune response of children to vaccines. Studies have also shown a potential link between PFAS and several forms of cancer, including breast cancer and testicular cancer in men. The bill to ban forever chemicals except in cookware was passed by the National Assembly and Senate last year. Thursday's vote was considered a mere formality before the legislation becomes law. It comes just weeks after a new study showed tap water in French cities was heavily contaminated by forever chemicals.
I find this story rather scary, actually. Cami Knight's here to tell us more. Cami from our business desk, of course, will have a full business bulletin in the wake of this. And so PFAS, forever chemicals, this ban starting then in 2026. What does this ban include, Cami? Tell us more.
Well, it is one of the most ambitious laws to ever exist to regulate PFAS, but it has been seriously watered down thanks to some lobbying. Now let's go through what the law actually involves. It bans the manufacturing, export, import and sale of products containing PFAS components in 3 sectors in France. Those include cosmetics, clothing with the exception of some protective gear like firefighting gear, and ski wax. It also includes a tax system which would force companies to pay €100 per gram of PFAS released into water. But what you'll notice is missing from the list is kitchenware, and that's because a very powerful lobby group from a company called SEB has been working especially hard in the past year to keep it out of the bill. Now, the SEB group is Tefl's parent company, a brand best known for selling non-stick pans, something it uses PFAS to manufacture, Mark.
I'm not feeling any more reassured by what you're saying, Cami, I must admit. Tell us what these lobbying strategies then have been about.
This probably won't reassure you anymore. Our colleagues at France Télévisions led a joint investigation along with dozens of other media outlets to look into those tactics, and it revealed that the SEB group had mobilised its own employees, organised demonstrations at the National Assembly and influenced lawmakers to defend the use of a kind of PFAS called PTFE, also known as Teflon, which it claims is harmless. We're going to show you some of those demos. Those are Tefl employees who've been driven to the protest in company buses and who've been told that 3,000 jobs would be under threat if PFAS were to be banned. And these are the kinds of arguments that the SEB group have been using. Take a listen.
It's a bit like mushrooms. Some mushrooms are dangerous to consume, others you can eat. Does that mean you have to ban all mushrooms? We don't think so. And it's the same thing for PFAS, only some are dangerous.
That was broadcast on France 2 last April, but environmental activists argue that by trying to make a distinction between different kinds of PFAS, authorities are forced to play catch-up with the different molecule combinations because PFAS are a family of thousands of chemical components. And so this is what the SEB Group has been focusing a lot of its efforts on, attempting to prove that the kind of PFAS they use isn't dangerous. They even sent documents to the Finance Ministry a day before discussions began in Parliament, claiming that the OECD had classified Teflon molecules as harmless, something that in fact was untrue. But their hard work paid off, since the bill leaves kitchenware out of the ban and Tefal can continue to manufacture its non-stick pans. They'll still be on the shelves.
People lobbying to keep their jobs, one can understand why they're doing that, but behind that there is this health concern, and
And they are most at risk, since they're the ones working.
This is what's most disturbing about the whole thing, isn't it, Cammy? One to watch, and thank you for bringing that to our attention here on The Business. Now, to move on, Airbus dominated Boeing in 2024. Boeing, of course, didn't have such a good year.
That's right, Airbus flew ahead in 2024, announcing a net rise in profits for the year in line with analysts' expectations. The aviation giant overcame a write-down in its space business, supply chain issues, also taking advantage of rival manufacturer Boeing's ongoing problems. Luke Schrager with this report.
A positive perspective for Airbus, as the plane maker announced a 12% rise in net profit for 2024 to 4.2 billion euros.
Every global market is seeking new aircraft. New models consume less fuel, they're cheaper to operate, they're more reliable, safer, and every airline is looking to acquire them as and when they can.
That's despite a €300 million write-down in its space business earlier last year, along with over 2,000 job cuts in the same sector. Despite a fall in orders on 2023's bumper year, Airbus still delivered 766 aircraft in 2024 and is predicting a 7% increase on those figures for the year ahead. While plane makers have struggled to scale production back up after the global pandemic, the European Airbus has seen much more success in meeting orders than its US rival Boeing. Beset by strikes and safety concerns, it delivered just 348 aircraft in 2024 and now faces the ire of Donald Trump, angry over the slippage of 2 aircraft for use as Air Force One that he ordered when first in office.
We gave that contract out a long time ago. It was a fixed-price contract, and I'm not happy with the fact that it's taken so long. I would not consider Airbus over Boeing now, but I could buy one that was used and convert it. I could buy one from another country, perhaps.
If Airbus and Boeing shared global markets equally until now, one consultancy firm is now predicting that Airbus will expand its share to 58% by the end of the decade.
Amazon is set to take creative control over the James Bond film franchise.
That's right. The James Bond films have long been produced by Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, who inherited the control from their father, Albert Cubby Broccoli. And in 2021, when Amazon agreed to take over MGM Studios, Broccoli and Wilson said they would keep creative control. Now they've relinquished the reins, and the deal raises the possibility of a reinvention or an expansion of the franchise. For example, the company could commission more streaming spin-offs, like the Star Wars universe has been expanded on Disney+. Now, news of Thursday's deal helps explain why there's been a long delay without any announcement of a 26th official Bond film or its star. We know Daniel Craig's time is over, and a few names have come up, but we'll still have to wait a little longer before we know who the next James Bond is. You might want to apply, Mark.
I'm under contract at France 24. I don't think they can fit. Can you imagine? Jeff Bezos. That was very good, that. Well done. It could interest. How about a James Bond prequel? That could be fun, couldn't it? You know, life before 007 kind of thing. Who knows? The options are endless. Cammy, thank you very much indeed. Coming out, we're back with more business, of course, as we go through the evening here on France 24. Thank you for that. And thank you for watching too. Stay with us, more news to come.